Say hey.
Hey.
You can be in the outtakes now.
Oh, great.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Arthelia's Vintage and Handmade. My name is Naomi. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. If you are a first-time viewer, I am so glad you decided to try out my channel and see what you think. If you like it, I would appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and maybe a subscribe. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. We have got quite a few little things to talk about today. This is going to be podcast episode 4. So, where shall we begin? Let's start with the big elephant in the room. Not this room, the room of the world. Yes, we are all inundated with this pandemic, coronavirus right now. There isn't anybody that hasn't been touched by it. So I and my family are staying away from everybody as much as we possibly can, which is not too terribly hard right now because thankfully my husband is a teacher. The schools are closed and he's able to do his classes online. And my son homeschools already, so no problems there. And me, I'm currently unemployed, so my poor little Belle Star has had to close their doors to customer shopping, but I am happy to say that they are still selling online. If you are in the area, Fort Smith area, or you plan to be at some point in the future, go check out bellestarantiques.com. There's an online shop there and you can purchase with PayPal for pickup at a later date. So if you're somebody that maybe is not in the area right now, this is a good time to do a little shopping and then head on down and schedule a pickup on another day. So, little plug for my favorite place to shop, and I am looking forward to when all this craziness is over again and people can get back to their lives. But I want to say it is extremely important. Please, 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 if you are not a critical worker, please just stay home. You never know whose life you will affect. You may not feel sick. You may still be someone that can spread this to someone who is vulnerable and will get sick, and it would be detrimental if anything happened to them. This is all about saving people's lives and preventing, not saying, oh, I feel fine, I can do it, I'm okay, I'm not scared of this. No, it's about thinking and putting others before yourself. So that is my little 2 cents on this. I hope you are all doing well, staying home, watching lots of YouTube videos, knitting, sewing, doing all kinds of home crafts. This is like no problem for me. I'm home most of the time anyway if I'm not working. I don't like to grocery shop, so I just order my things online. We are especially taking this seriously because me having had cancer and chemo just 2 years ago this week is when I started it. I still have a very low immune system. I am only just getting over a cold. That has knocked me out pretty well. So if I were to get the coronavirus, it could be extremely, extremely serious. My son also has asthma from when he was a little baby. When he would get sick, his asthma is when he would have the flare-up. He had to do breathing treatments, and he is on an inhaler for when he does get sick now. Even when he gets sick with a cold, his breathing is so terribly labored. He cannot breathe. So I would not want to put him in any kind of danger at all. There is nothing important enough for me to go out of my house and put anyone in danger, whether my family or anyone on the outside. So That all aside, we have gotten that out of the room. Also, if you might notice, I am in another different location again. This is the room that I have been working on renovating. We have finally moved into it. I've got my TV is behind me that you'll see, and it is sitting on the dresser that we are going to use for all our DVDs. This used to be my bedroom dresser, but I purchased a Haywood Wakefield dresser last year, so that replaced this one. And this one is great for storing DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that in, so win-win. I eventually want to refinish that piece and strip down the 1960s odd finish that it has on it, and but I don't have any definite plans of when that's going to happen. It'll happen eventually. I'm just happy to be in this room. I am not going to do a tour of this room for you yet because it's not 100% done. You are currently sitting on my sofa, which is brand new and beautiful and turquoise. And my windows, which you can see the reflection of in the TV, do not have their drapes or their blinds up yet, but that will be coming soon. So I am very happy that the floor is done. It is beautiful. I love it so much. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen little pieces of it. It doesn't photograph as well as it looks in person. It's really beautiful. I love it. I'm so happy it turned out as well as it did. So as far as my dining room, which is the old family room, I am currently working on just taking it apart, taking down shelving and things in there and the collectibles that were on the shelves and boxing all those things up, and just getting ready for that room to be worked on next. It's just going to be a process to clear it. We have half of the carpeting ripped up in there, but the remainder has to be pulled out yet. So I'm waiting till I am 100% better without a runny nose or any of those things before I get into heavy labor again, because everything just still wears me out, and that's just from having had a cold. Anyway, today I have a little bit of sewing acquisitions for you. Of course, I'm still not doing any sewing. I am, however, doing knitting and crochet. I have sewing acquisitions, I have yarn acquisitions, and a little bit of vintage. So let's get started first with some of the fabric that I have purchased. If you recall from my last video, I said I was on a fabric buying ban. Well, I may have broken that a little bit. I am allowing myself to get some vintage pieces if I run into them locally. I'm not ordering online. And I did really and truly break it because I did order something brand new online. It went on sale. I couldn't help myself. So I have broken my rule really once, but I don't have that fabric yet to show you. But while I was gathering some things in my sewing room to show you, I came across a couple of pieces of fabric that I had bought a while back, long before my ban, at some point last year, and I don't think I've ever shown them to you. One I had gotten off eBay, and one was from Bellstar. I'll show you this one from Bellstar first. This is just, it's rolled up. I'll unfold it. Okay, this is a ombre poly satin in a gorgeous emerald or Kelly green, and it's got like tulip print embossed on it. I'm not sure what the yardage was on this. It's not too big of a piece. It's not that small either. And it's a narrower width, so it's definitely older. This is as wide as it is. I haven't measured this or anything. I just stuck it upstairs after I had gotten it. I would say it looks like it's maybe 28 or 32. something like that. But there's maybe 1.5 yards to 2 yards, I would say. It would make a really cute, maybe like a bolero over like a fancy summer dress or something like that, because it has a nice heavy weight to it. I wouldn't say it's quite decorator weight, but it's definitely something you could use as a little lightweight jacket. Anyway, I couldn't pass up this collar. I think it was like, I don't know, I didn't pay too much for this, maybe $10, something like that, $9. So there's that. So I've had that for quite some time. But then this one I spied up there, and I was like, I really don't remember sharing this before. I got this on eBay. It was kind of a little bit of a sleeper. It's quite a good yardage. I forget how much it is. I want to say there's like 5 yards here. I think this is a 1940s rayon. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't remember what the seller listed it as being. I don't think they specified, but there's some, just the way this flower print is drawn. I don't know how well you can see that on the camera, but just the style of the art is just so vintage. And this, I mean, it definitely feels like a cold, almost a cold rayon to me also. I haven't done any burn tests on these, of course. I never get around to doing that. But I have quite the yardage. And just, you know, a 1940s dress out of this. I think it's beautiful. I love it so much. And I don't think I paid a lot for it. It's been so long now, I forgot. I could even look it up. It doesn't really matter too much though. I don't know, $25 maybe? It wasn't a lot. But look at that color. That blue is gorgeous. So yeah, so anyway, yeah, I have had that, and I think I've forgotten to share that with you. So that is not anything new that I have bought. So what have I bought recently? Well, this one was in Bellstar, and this is so unusual, I couldn't not get it. And it's just so cool. This, I'm gonna scoot a little bit forward so maybe you can see a little better. This is a Japanese shopping bag. It's fabric. Isn't that cute? And it has print on it, Japanese character writing is right there. So it's just a little bundle tied up. Surely you've seen like in pictures or movies and things like that, where women buy things and they're just carrying around these little sacks like this. I think this is so cute. Okay, so you open it up. And what's inside? But vintage Japanese fabric. I haven't measured these either, but there is a nice quantity of all of these. And I would not be in any hurry to use these at all. They're so, so cool. And just the fact that they're in their little bag like this. Okay, so this one has just some different little figures of people doing different activities, shopping and riding like a mule or a donkey, and can't tell what else that man is doing. Just different little pictures on that. And these feel like, some of them feel like a cotton and silk blend, and some of them feel like they're silk. But there's quite a bit of this, and this is all, you know, multiple folds here. So there's a lot of this one. It looks like it was used at some point a little bit because it's cut here. It's got like this little cut piece right there. I don't know, but that one, I love that one. And then there's these two, which are the same print, but in different colors. This one has 2 cuttings of it, and this one has 1. So what this print is, it's like a little ladybug type insect playing musical instruments with music propped up on a flower, if you can see that. And they're hand painted. I think the colors might be printed, but there's gold over it, and that's all definitely hand printed. But they're doing, it's different instruments. And then there's the same one in a different color. This one, the little bugs are like ladybugs, they're red with pink flowers, and the other one they're blue with yellow flowers. And I have the 2 cuts of this. So cute. And then this beautiful floral. Isn't that so pretty? It's like an ecru background, and there's probably a yard or 2 of this. So cute. That would make a really pretty blouse, but I really don't feel like I'm in any hurry to use these. They're just so fabulous, just on their own. And then here's the bag. And there's what it has printed on it, if you can see. It has that red character. And these just look like little green little symbols. Just on one corner. Isn't that neat? How could I not? How could I not get that? So that was vintage. Purchased at Bell a couple of months ago, I guess. Let's see, then what? Then I went away to visit my family in Pennsylvania. And while I was there, we did a little thrift shopping, which nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with thrift shopping, because you're not going to spend a lot of money and you're going to get maybe some cool things, you know. Well, the first shop we were in, we were on our way out and I hadn't seen anything, but there was a basket by the door that had some things thrown in it and it just said free. And there was this yardage of green cotton. It's a prettier green than it looks on the camera right now. So I've got all of this length plus a little bit scrap, and that was free. And then they had these, which there are, let's see, 1, 2, I think there are 3 panels altogether of this pretty Indian cotton. It's 100% cotton. Here's the print. It's pink with burgundy and yellow designs on it. And what these say they are, they're hemmed They have a label and they say MTV Cribs on them. So I have looked it up and I could not find that at any time that there was product associated with MTV Cribs. I remember when the TV show was on, it was quite a long time ago. But they look like curtains, but they don't have any rod pockets or anything like that. So I'm assuming they were just like a swag type, that kind you would drape over a rod or yeah, a drapery rod and just like swag and make it how you want it. But the fabric, it's this beautiful, soft, made in India, 100% cotton, and I have 3 big lengths of this. So this would make a beautiful summer 1950s cool dress. This would be so nice to wear. It's such a nice light cotton, like a lawn. It's really beautiful, and these were free. So this was through the thrift store that the hospital auxiliary runs. So since these were such a great find for me, I gave them a donation in exchange for these, even though they hadn't wanted anything. But yeah, I couldn't, you know, I was like, I'm pretty thrilled with these, so here you go. Going to a good cause. So you can't beat basically free. Then we went to another thrift store that benefits cats and dogs. It's called the Cat's Pajamas. It's in Holmesdale, Pennsylvania, if you ever get in that neck of the woods. It's really fun. It's got a lot of good things. I made out like a bandit in that place. They were doing a clothing bag sale, $5 a bag. I didn't really look too much through the clothing. I did look through the crafts and stuff like that. I've got a cat sitting on this one thing I've got to pick up. There we go. I got, this is definitely a green podcast today. I got this narrow green cord. Again, I have not measured this. Let me see if I can just stand up and show you how much is here. Okay. Because I've not even opened this all up. So, wait, find the end. Okay, here's the end. We've got, this is probably about a yard, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Well, 5 or a little bit less, depending on how accurate my measurements were, of narrow green, narrow whale hunter green corduroy. $5. Can't beat that. Very happy with that. Okay, so as for other sewing things, while I was there, I got, they had a box full and of all seam bindings and trims, and they were 50 cents a piece. So I just picked out, I have a ton of seam bindings, but when I can find the rayon ones, which are my favorite, I try to get them, but they're 50 cents a piece, which is great compared to what you would buy for something brand new. But since I have so many, I just tried to pick colors that I know I would use most often. So I got like olive green and medium blue and a peachy natural color, a light blue, a Kelly green, another medium blue, red, olive green, and a black, which is, yeah, basically. So these are great to have on hand, 50 cents a piece, can't beat that. I've got a cat like right here. See if you see tail or head or fur, he's fluffing this fabric that I just laid out here. So if you see him pop up, that's Tigger. Okay, now I've got a couple, oh wait, so I got that there. I've got a couple of, let's see, other sewing things I got at Bell Star not too long ago. Snatched these up because I am You see, when I see stuff like this, I can't let it go. Buckles. I've got a red and a cream. A red and a purple. A beautiful green. I can't tell. This one might be dark brown. Not sure if it's dark brown or if it's black. It might be dark brown. And then this one, which is really cool. This is wooden, and it has the little tabby. Cat Chaos. This, I love this one. This is probably really old because this is the center bar is metal, and then it's got the little buckle part, which is wooden also. So how cool is that? I have never seen one like that before. I'm trying to cover my face so you can see. Yeah, so I love that one. And then some buttons. These say they are Bakelite buttons, so I got them. They're just little round, completely round beads, bead buttons. Bakelite. And these also say they are Bakelite, and this is a big full set of large and small, but yeah, they look so 30s. Really cool. So I had to have those. Those are my last purchase from Belle before the big pandemic struck. Okay, and then I have a couple of things that I was gifted from some friends. I have this darling little Simplicity tin with this, has a little vintage pattern on it. November, December 1934 it says, so really cute. I think this is probably one of the items that was from Joann's when they were doing stuff like this, and I didn't have this, so I love this. Great storage there. And then I have a few patterns that I was given. Another friend. I have not gone through these at all yet, but they're kind of a little bit rough shape, so I don't want them to fall apart. There's this cute Simplicity apron pattern, and oops, oh no, dropping. And here's another Simplicity 1960s dress pattern. That one's really cute. And this is Ozark Calico bonnet and apron clothespin bag pattern. And that's really cute. And then do one more. There we go. This is Simplicity. The top is ripped off, so I can't see what number, but there's that one. Alright. And I believe that is going to do it for sewing for today. It's everything I have purchased or was gifted as far as I can remember. I do have the one new fabric yardage coming to me in the mail that I caved and splurged, but I'll be good. I'm not going to be doing that again. Oh my goodness. I forgot two things in the sewing section. My mother would have a fit. My mother surprised me with these two books, one and then another, and they are my most favorite things. I have a book that I purchased. I'm not sure if I've talked about it on here before. I have a book that I purchased probably about 16 years ago. I bought it on eBay because I had originally checked it out from my high school library when I was there in high school, like as a junior or something. And I loved it because it was an old 1960s, early 60s, but it was mostly the photographs and things were from the 50s, and they, you know, the production date or publishing date just advanced into the 60s. But it was like an old school instruction manual book, and it was just called Dress. And I should have brought that book down, but I'll have to show you that when I show you other books that I have. Anyway, I always loved it. It gave instructions for girls of how to put together their wardrobe, how to sew, how to choose colors to go with their skin and their style, hairstyles, all cute stuff like that, and I loved it. And here I was in the 1980s checking out this book over and over and over again, and I always wished I could just keep it because I wanted it. So all those years later, there I find it on eBay, and I was so thrilled to finally own a copy of that book. But I love that style book because it's not just a basic sewing book. It encompasses so much more, and it gives us a really good snapshot of the time period that the books are from, and what was important to women and girls, and what the instruction that was passed on to them, and how this was something that as young college girls or high school girls, they were being instructed in. Stuff like that does not happen anymore. I mean, this is why the generations, more modern generations, are really totally clueless about doing a lot of everyday type things, because who's telling them? Nobody. So I just love these. I think they're beautiful. The photographs are beautiful, and I just would love, I want to take some time and just sit and read through these. So the first one is Clothing for Moderns. It's by Mabel D. Irwin. Here it is right here. And these books are always really hefty and chunky, like an old school book. And I love that about them too. And they smell good, like an old book. This one is, I don't have my glasses here, see if I can see what year this one is from. Okay, the 7th printing of this one is from 1954, but the original copyright for this one is 1949. So you are going to have late 40s information in here, even though this copy was from a little bit later. Maybe some things were updated, but probably not all that much. So here are some of the photographs. In here, this is in a section called Exploring the Clothing Field. So it's all about getting a job or working within the clothing field. There's a photograph of a woman weaving, some other ones of factory workers. And then, of course, you have your sewing sections, how to measure, buying and preparing patterns, preparing and handling fabric, using a pattern, organization of work, everything you could want to know about putting together a vintage wardrobe from the actual time period is in books like these. They're fabulous. I love them so much. This one doesn't have as many large photographs in it. Here's a few, as some of the other ones. There's these great little line drawings. And the Pretty Bride. So much, chock full of all kinds of wardrobe information, not just sewing, which makes it extra, extra special. And then I have another one that she sent me. This one is How You Look and Dress, because that is important to young women. There's a cat scratch. This one is copyright 1955. Your grooming, posture, exercise, how to brush your teeth, how to manicure your nails, your hair, washing your hair, styling your hair, choosing hairstyles, and this one I think has a few color photos in the center. Yeah. This reminds me a little bit of one of the vintage Barbie dresses. What to consider when buying hose. What to consider when buying shoes. Places to consider when shopping. Selecting your sewing equipment. Taking measurements and altering patterns. Again, fantastic source of information. What vintage girl wouldn't love these? So there's two. And then the one that I have also is called Dress. And I want to say the author on that one is Bess the Oberon or something similar to that. But it's called Dress, and it has a girl in a dress on the front. It has an actual photograph of a girl. But these books are absolutely fantastic if you're interested in not just the sewing aspect but all the other fun stuff. I mean, we're not necessarily going to follow a lot of these things, but it's so cool just to read it over and to see what was important in the instruction that was important for them to share and make sure that girls knew how to take care of themselves and do all the things that a lot of people don't know how to do now. So next, on to knitting. So as far as my knitting purchases, this goes back to the store, the thrift store. I found, I mean, usually in thrift stores I don't see a lot of really good yarn. It's mostly acrylic and just a lot of craft yarn and little bits, not a whole lot of anything good in quantities. And I don't have any trouble with acrylic depending on the project you're doing. But I found this. Now this may be all acrylic, this may be an acrylic blend, but I thought this would be good for like a vintage pattern, for like one of those little shrugs or boleros that call for Angora. This would be nice for that because it's fine. It's a fine pink, but it's got the little halo on it, which is nice. I'm sure it's not Angora. I mean, it's definitely not Angora. Mohair. I don't think it's real mohair. Of course, I haven't done a burn test, but it just feels a little too rough to be actual, like a silk mohair blend. And they're usually in smaller balls than this. So I think this is like a copy, that would be. So I found that was one bag, and then this was a larger bag with 1, 2, I think this is the same stuff. Three balls. So there's quite a quantity here. You know, it could be weighed and wound. That would be helpful. And then I would know how much I had. But it's a nice fine lace weight, so it would be great to use, even doubled up to make it a fingering to use for one of those type little jackets. I think that would be nice. And I paid, it was 2 bags, I think 50 cents a piece. So $1 for this. So for that, it's pretty good. And that's all I have purchased as far as knitting stuff goes. I'm not buying any new yarns or anything. I've got plenty. But what am I working on as far as knit and crochet? So here are my whips. I have gotten out my Afghan that I had been working on, I don't even know how many years. I've just been making squares whenever I felt like it. Now this is made from all acrylic. I needed something inexpensive because this is going to be huge. And if you have not seen me talk about this in a previous video, this is a copy, so to speak, of the Afghan that was on the back of Ann Perkins' couch in the TV show Parks and Recreation. And I always loved it, and I had looked up one time and I found this pattern, which was I felt was the closest one to look like what she has. It's like a granny square Afghan, but her centers are round instead of square. There's some I found on Pinterest that have a square center, but this one I had found had the round. And then there was separately a schematic that shows you the layout and which color combinations you need to make. So I had so many squares done that I decided I am going to start putting this beast together to see how big it is, and do I want to make it the full size, or do I want to make it maybe a little bit smaller. I guess when it comes to Afghans, bigger is better. I plan on having this on my couch, but I started, and I had to order more of the green yarn because that's what it is joined with. So I started by putting my rows together, my squares together in a row, and then my rows together. So this is where I am right now. Here's what it looks like. I posted a picture of this when it was 3 rows on Instagram. It's currently at 5 rows, and I have 1 row of squares almost done, and that'll be 6. And I think there's a total of 10 in the pattern schematic. So let's see, which is we got rows and we got columns. Okay, here's the width, the current width. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5. That's how wide it is. And then it's even longer because it's 9 squares long. But I love it. It's so pretty. It's so cheery. It looks to me just like on TV. And it will look great on my sofa, which is turquoise, and it will tie all other colors in the room together. So, I mean, this is pretty big as it is, but it isn't all that wide yet. So I'm gonna keep going till I get sick of it or till I run completely out of yarn. I've had a couple of colors I've had to get more of. I had ran out of the yellow and the butter yellow, and ordered more of that. I ordered 2 more of the green, and I know I'm about to run out of the turquoise. So I will probably have to get some more of that. But conveniently, I can order it online, and I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. And when I feel like picking this up, I do. And, but it's going great. I love the join that I chose. It lines up everything perfectly. Nothing is off kilter. It's great, and I really love it. Of course, all my ends, you're looking at the back side right now too. All my ends need to be woven in. Here's the front. All my ends will have to be done at the end, and I'm going to go around it, of course, with the border of the green. But I love it. I think it's great and so pretty, and it will come in handy having it on the couch. I've been keeping it as it is done right now, already folded up on the back of the couch, and of course the cats are loving it. So yeah, everybody's going to want to snuggle up on this one. This is made, if you're interested, this is made out of just good old Red Heart Super Saver yarn, basic acrylic, no dye lot colors. And I have the colors I've used are listed on my Ravelry page. If you are interested in that, I am Ms. Cherry Pip on Ravelry. Look me up if you want to see what colors I've used in this. So there's that for my crochet project, and then my knitting project is living in my fringe bag, and I've got more pins on it now. This I started and took it on vacation with me, and I got quite a bit done, and then I realized I had made ridiculous mistakes in reading the pattern. So this is my lysing shawl, and this is where I am. I am currently undoing a little bit, picking back a little bit on one section between two markers. I'm almost there because I had made a little error in one of my stitches because I wasn't focusing, and I'm working on the lace right now. So I just had to go back just a little bit to see, get my count corrected and fix the mistake I had made. So lysing is a pattern by Skein Deer Knits. If you are interested in this, it is a shawl pattern. It is a shaped shawl pattern, and I'm doing the larger version with the fringe. It's really nice. Now, I had no complaints with the pattern whatsoever. I really like it. It's easy to read as long as your brain comprehends what you're reading and doesn't try to make it more difficult than it really is. I did the stretchy, it's a cast on, the German cast on, I think that's what it's called, in order to get a stretchy cast on. Now the color and the yarn that I'm using for this is Knit Picks Wools of the Andes in Sport Weight, and the color is Oyster Heather. Now, I was thinking about it the other day, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me when I first received my order. I guess I had forgot what my intention was when I first picked out the color. But when I was choosing yarn for this, I wanted a heathered yarn with the little flecks and variations in color here and there. This is not a heather yarn at all. I don't know why they call it Oyster Heather, because the majority of all their heathered yarns, you can see the variegation in it. This is just a plain old oystery cream off-white type color. Now it's fine, and I'm certainly not going to not make it, but it occurred to me the other day that yeah, I had wanted this to have a little more life to it because it was going to be a completely solid color. I wanted just to have that little bit of vintage rustic look that a heather yarn can give an item instead of just being a solid stark, completely even color. But yeah, this yarn is I would never call this a heather, so I'm not sure what they meant by that, why they called it that. I don't know. Have you ever had any yarns that are called a heather and then are not have that kind of heather? I don't know. So let me know in the comments below if you think that's weird or you've run into that before. Is it just a Knit Picks thing? So those are my two projects, and I am enjoying them immensely. I have them sit next to me on the sofa, and I pick them up when I am in the mood, or especially in the evenings, and I'm relaxing and just wanting to get things, have some downtime and get some things done. I can speak. Okay, and now the last segment I'm going to talk about as far as acquisitions go is vintage. Let's go back to my trip again and the cat's pajamas. And my sister said, okay, you have to go downstairs and look what's down there. And I said, well, what's down there? She's like, oh, it's just kind of cool down there. It's mostly just like formal wear and wedding gowns and stuff. So I was like, okay, fine. She's like, it's just cool to go see the building because everything in the downtown is it's the old downtown. Now, this is the town I grew up in, and I didn't get as much filming done there as I really wanted to. The opportunity it just didn't feel like that kind of a trip. It was cold, and I was not used to being that cold. Even though we've had temperatures similar to that here in Arkansas, there's just something about it in Pennsylvania. It is frigid. It is like a bone-chilling cold. So there was not much video to do. I did do one video that I will put up probably as a standalone video on here that amused me so much. But I won't go into any detail about that right now. But that'll be fun. So keep your eye out for when I get that one uploaded. I have to do some editing and some voiceovers on that, but that was fun. Okay, so back to the vintage. She says go downstairs, and so we do, and it's like she said, you know, just wedding gowns, just a couple of little racks, a small area and everything. Then I go into this one other room, and it's like, oh, maybe some things just they're calling like vintage, but it was mostly like all stuff from the 80s, and it was all yeah, 80s like dressy type polyester suits and things like that. But there, hanging up on the wall, is a coat. So I have to go grab this coat. So I'm going to grab this coat right now, and then I will show you. Okay, so I get the coat down off the wall. Like, ooh. I don't know if you can tell on screen, but this is navy blue. Yeah, it does, yeah, this is not, it's not black. This is navy blue. And this is a mink collar. And it has these gorgeous, big, chunky buttons. I want to say this is like early to mid 60s. It is, yeah, I'd say it's below my knee, full length coat. I'll tell you what the labels say. These buttons are fantastic. They're self-covered buttons, big snaps also. Okay, so here's the inside label. It's got this beautiful blue satin lining. It's in excellent, excellent condition. This fur is fantastic. It is, of course, you know, removable, so you can get it cleaned. It says, Books Furs, Scranton's leading furrier. So this came from originally an actual furrier, not just a department store, but a furrier in downtown Scranton. And the business it says it was established in 1912. So this is definitely a cool piece. And then there's another label that I didn't even discover until I got home. It's the actual coats label. It says Joy Moore Fashions, styled by Molly. Now I did a really quick Google search on this, and I didn't find much, but I didn't stay on or didn't have time to do a whole lot of research on this. I know I should be able to find something on the Fashion Guild with their labels to see what that is. But that's what the brand of the coat is, Joy Moore Fashion, styled by Molly, M-O-L-L-E with an accent. And then the store label is Books Furs. This was such a deal. So it was apparently donated by another shop that was right there on Main Street at some point. And when they had it in their shop, they were selling it for $94. And then the thrift store, they had it for $35. And I was ready to pay that $35. And it was so funny because my mom and my sister and I were like, do we have enough cash? Do we have enough cash? Because we were gonna pool our funds to buy this coat because it, you know, $35 is great for this mint, beautiful, oh, and guess what? It fits. Oh yes, it fits like a glove. It's so perfect because when I first saw it, I'm like, that's not gonna fit me because most time, you know, vintage is usually tinier. This fits. See, look at that. No problems. I'm gonna boil in like 10 seconds here with this on. This is a heavy, heavy coat. And it has like this texture to it too, so it's not completely smooth, but it's so beautiful. Anyway, $35. So we're like, okay, cool. I had enough cash on me, so I was gonna get this coat, go upstairs to check out with my yarn and my fabric that I had found, and the woman says, oh, you could put the coat in the bag sale. So into a bag it went, costing me only $5. I couldn't believe it. We were so ready to just pay the $35, which would have been fantastic. And to get it for $5, I was so thrilled. This was the buy of the trip for sure. A mink colored gorgeous coat like this for $5. And it is in such beautiful, perfect condition, no damage at all. It doesn't look like it was even really worn at all, if at all. But it's so fantastic. Not that I'm in any hurry to have cold weather come back. I am ready for this spring and summer, and I am enjoying the weather we have right now. But this is going to be a treat to wear. I love it so much. I'm so excited. This was a fantastic find. So I have one more thing, and that's all from my trip. I have a couple more vintage pieces to show you that I have acquired recently, and that is going to be it for acquisitions. So let me get out of this beast and I will show you what is next. Okay, that is, yeah, really a heavy coat. That will keep me warm for sure. And also I forgot to mention that the lining on the inside has elastic in it, so the inner lining like keeps you warm by closing up the opening of the coat. So you've got this extra little band of elastic keeping you nice and warm in there. Okay, if you've been around here for any length of time at all and you've watched any of my videos on vintage, you kind of know that I'm a little bit addicted to hats. If I see something good, I have to get it. There's no way around it. I have to get the hats. The box, I even had to get I got the box separately because I have to have a place to store my hats, right? And what's better than a vintage hat box? So this box says it was from Famous Bar Co. in St. Louis, and I looked them up and I want to say they're still in existence. Of course a cat has already tried to squish this and gotten into my closet somehow, so I've got to straighten that out. But these beauties all had to come home with me. So here is number one. It is a black straw shaped this black velvet bow love how this, look how this comes up in the back. Isn't that the most adorable, darling thing? And then we have got all the the little millinery flowers on there. Perfect condition, not squashed. I tell you, I don't often find them in fantastic. That is such a treat. It's such a treat. Now the net has a little bit of holes in it, but it's not bad. I mean, sometimes they're just so shredded. These were kept really, really well. And it just did a design that you can't even see. There's like little diamond design in the straw. I don't know if you can see that. If I come in closer, maybe you can. Can you see the little pattern in that? How sweet is this? It's got its elastic. This hat does not have any labels. It just has a size. It's a 22. And then usually all hats, you know, I'm pretty good with fitting into them. But yeah, I love this. So cute. And I have a red hat that has a similar shape to this, which reminds me, would you guys be interested in seeing a video of my hat collection? Because I've got a lot more than I've shown on here, because I've been buying hats for more than 10 years easily, I'm sure. But if you would like to see my hat collection, just leave me a comment below. I can definitely get that together one day while I'm home. So yeah, so I have a red one that has a similar shape to this one. That's actually from a local department store. I think it's another one that was from the Boston store. But that would be in my hat video if you'd like to see. So there's that one. And then there's this little cutie, which is a little more plain, but no less adorable. So this is slightly shaped too, a little bit wider brim in the front, narrow in the back. We got the little grosgrain ribbons, and then we have black, white, grosgrain ribbon with a red velvet ribbon going around the top. This one is black, a different style. Excuse me. This one is this one is more of an open chunky weave type straw. Very simple, very cute. This one could be worn a number of ways because it's so little. Like, I mean, you could go for the really 12 years old look, or, you know, if your hairdo was built up in the back, you could tilt it forward more like something like that. This. Cute, simple, adorable. And then my favorite is this blue beauty. This has got blue netting, gorgeous pink roses, and ribbons, and the veiling, which is almost perfect. I think there might be a tiny little hole and it's right there, but this one is so cute. I can't stand it. I just think of the outfits that need to go with these hats. As I've said many times before, I'm sure you've heard me say that I just envision the fantastic dresses or suits or just the outfits that need to go with these hats. I love this hat. Isn't it sweet? Those roses, I mean, it reminds me of something, but I can't think of what it is. If it's like a painting or a picture that I've seen somewhere with a similar style hat to this, where it has the roses up in the front, the top, and the net. I can't think of what it is. And of course, as I always say, you have to have the proper hairstyle to suit the hat. And of course my dress doesn't go today, but what do you think? Isn't she a beauty? And she's blue. And this straw is like right in between the two. It's not as loosely woven as the small black one, and it's not as dense as the large black one. But the roses are perfect condition. So, so pretty. None of these have labels, so I find that interesting too. Maybe I mean, every one of these hats I bought from the same seller with the box. So they all could have been from that store, and maybe they didn't put labels in their hats, or the person took the labels out, or I don't know, did hats always have labels? Because I have quite a number of them that don't have any, and I'm just curious about that. But anyway, that is going to do it for Vintage Acquisitions today. So that is all I have for you today. If the camera looks wonky, it is because I filled up my memory card and now everything is all messed up. But I thank you so much for joining me today, and if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, leave me some comments below, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do so, and tick the little bell button so you know when a new video is on. And until next time,